April 19th, 2018. I'm getting the fuck out of here. I can no longer feel alone. I can no longer struggle as a fish out of water. I should have gone home a long time ago. But it's not too late. I'm going to be great. And I can't wait to be unapologetically happy. Fuck all the bullshit. April 23rd, 2018. Time to take my responsibility. 25 will be a marker of change. I can do better, and I will hold myself accountable. In preparing for this move, I feel I also must prepare myself. God, I want to be ready so badly. I want so desperately the brave new future I've been sensing. I'm going to go get it. Put in the work. Be my own hero. Push. May 3rd, 2018. 3 days till we head west. This is severely understated, but this is major. I've yet to fully grasp it. Although I've already moved out of 240 Dawn Drive, I still feel like it's just an adventure. And I just can't wait to get there. Relief. In other news, Ethan and I finally released Hidden Leaf, and I love it. Hoping to work more heavily in hip-hop. So many aspects I love about writing this music. But it is a personal new pleasure of delving into more black culture. My black culture. I'm a huge fan. My main goal is to inspire and push everyone to love more, think more, live more, thus creating a better world for my kids, myself, everyone. And I want to have as much fun on the way as possible. I thank you for allowing me to share this with you. I hope that this suffices as a decent intro for a podcast. Through great counsel and time reflected on such counsel, I've decided that someone might appreciate hearing things from my perspective. And being that it's been officially a year since I've moved to Southern California, I thought this would be a good place to start. Some journal entries written a year ago. It's so crazy how much things can change. In only a year. I mean, I've said before, 6 months can change your whole life. Realistically, it only takes a matter of seconds, if that, to, effectively change something. But really, 6 months can yield a completely different life for you. Friends, living situation, a new job, a relationship. Any number of those things can dramatically change not only the outside world, but your brain. Your brain chemistry can change. And with one traumatic experience, it can take 3 months to recover. That's normally for your levels to level back out. No, I didn't graduate college, but I did retain some information I found to be pertinent in the daily life of me. I am Dare Hopkins, your host for this podcast. I don't know what I'm going to call this yet as it's unfolding. Pardon me. I'm thinking Truth of Dare. I'm thinking Dare the Podcast. I don't know. Does it need to have my name in it? That's something else I've had to struggle with. This, what is it, name association? I don't know. Why doesn't everything need a moniker? It's much easier to just be yourself. Okay, so back to the topic. Moving to California. I guess I should share a bit about my perspective and where I was a little over a year ago from right now. That led up to my sudden decision. So I didn't really broadcast my move to my best recollection. I really didn't tell too many people outside of my immediate circle, which, included my workplace and, my mom and stepdad, my girlfriend at the time, letting my kids know I wouldn't be there. It was tough. It was one of the most toughest things that I've had to do. It really was the hardest thing that I had to do. Like, growing up, I moved around a bunch. I've lived in Texas, Florida, Louisiana, Virginia. But obviously it's different when you're a kid moving around. There's only so much stress that you're led to deal with up front. There's only so much stress on a 12-year-old. But it is impactful. That's an impactful age. I remember when I moved to Louisiana when I was 12, that was the first time I really recognized that I was sad that I had this huge weight of emotion that I didn't know what to do with. It was the first time that I really felt I was like impacted on a major level. So I wasn't used to moving by myself, to have to pack up literally everything I own and drive across the country. Just, I don't want to say a whim. It was kind of like an aha moment. It was, and all of a sudden, okay, I can't do this anymore. I really was at my wit's end. I had held it together as much as I could. I fought the best fight that I could, and I was slowly being defeated.
Breaking news.
I do apologize if you happen to hear any extra background noise. I can control only so many factors of my environment that is around me. But my dog making extra noises is not one of those things that's super controllable. So that is a hazard of this podcast. You might have to hear root beer and his root beerness from time to time.
You've been forewarned.
Back to topic. I could not struggle alone in Louisiana, in the South, working not minimum wage, but below an effective wage for living a sustainable life. Shit's rough. Like I know. I was really struggling. And I felt that, I had friends, obviously. Really great friends too. Not a super abundant amount of them, but there's a handful of spectacular people out there I was fortunate enough to be in close contact with. But that only goes so far, there's that feeling that you are alone no matter, who you're around, because you don't have a close relationship with your mom anymore, and you've never had a close relationship with your father. And there's been, father figure that has come in, but they've also come out as well. Not out of the closet. They've exited your life as a presence, or an effective presence. They're more ghost-like. Anyways. So I was in a relationship, and that took a sudden turn, and it was one of those things where you don't realize that, honestly, okay, I was realizing that I was struggling, but when you're in a relationship, you know how it goes. You're like, well, I'm finding value in this person, they're finding value in me, so this is keeping existentialist type panic at bay, I guess you could say. I guess I will say. It's kind of like a distraction when you really don't have your shit together and it's really not being held together. But, you're in a relationship that's going good. So you're pacified, you're content, you're complacent there. You're quote unquote comfortable. So yes, the economy is shit and you're in a crap job that lied to you about the pay and the the benefit structure, the bonus payouts and everything. but it's low key, it's laid back. You're trying to find something else that's going to be able to afford you the life that you're wanting and willing, but it's not working out. Yeah. I was having a hard, I looked for a better job for, I would say, like 9 months straight. And, maybe I'd catch an interview here or there. I just really wasn't having any luck. It felt that there was a lot of jobs that weren't really willing to pay what it would take to live. And that stress is a hard one to bear in and out. So, this, like I said, this relationship ended kind of abruptly. It was like all of a sudden everything came crashing down and to a reality, and I wasn't escaping what my IRL situation was. And it's like, fuck. Outside of that one relationship that was going good for me, like, I'm not really hitting on much else. I don't really know what I'm doing. I needed a regrouping. I needed help. I needed and wanted help and assistance. And I was feeling more and more that me being alive was not a burden for anyone, because I didn't feel I was burdening anyone in the way that I wasn't helping anyone of being around. So it was more of a meaningless existence, and that kind of sucked. I didn't want to kill myself, but I just didn't feel that me being alive was of much value, which was really sad for me. That really hurt, because I'll peek back into my childhood briefly. Growing up, I didn't have a huge amount of self-worth for more than one reason. So in coming out of high school and, coming into my own type stuff, and so in thinking I was finding myself, I was finding some value in what I was seeing in the mirror finally, and not so much questioning who I was or what I was, but just accepting of what I was seeing and feeling. And I took that progress in self-discovery and self-love to be a treasure. I loved that I was able to do that for myself and with myself. That was a badge or two that I wore proudly, to have value in who I was and to appreciate myself, and to be aware of that slipping away from me was something that I wasn't really okay with. I was used to fighting alone and just grinding it out and not asking for help. I was used to suffering alone. That's what I did my whole childhood. I didn't communicate, with my parental unit. Up until like 7th grade, maybe 8th grade, I never had like a best friend. I had, close, good friends here and there, but it wasn't like any extracurricular after school type stuff. Anyone to share your thoughts with. Growing up with my little brother, I didn't really have that connection with him on a deep level to where we talked about feelings or shared feelings, or, not that either one of us really thought about it. And I know that I didn't. If he did, he didn't offer and I didn't ask, which was sad. We just weren't taught that, I guess. It wasn't part of our reality. So, yeah, I knew that this was something that I wasn't okay with. I knew that this was something that wouldn't be of benefit to me or legacy, next generation. Something that is big in my family now, is breaking of cycles. So it was one of those things that it just wasn't acceptable for me to slide back. I only want to move forward. I only want to gain experience. And once you've experienced something and you're faced with it again, you are better prepared to react. And I did. I'm very, very proud of myself in not folding. I, did what I had to do. I did have help, and that is always appreciated. Any and everyone who, even just the wishes and the thoughts, and actively and intentionally putting that energy out there, on my behalf. It's felt and it's appreciated, and I am very happy to be in a position now, a year later. I'm wiser and I'm more calm, but also I'm in a position again to fight and to dig deeper and see what else there is for me to learn, because there, so much. Ultimately, I'm still so lucky. All of the opportunities that I've come across, and this podcast, I hope, is a good way for me to reflect and to be able to share my experiences from my perspective. And I'm hoping that we all are able to come away with something, take away something. In writing my journal entries, it was the hope that it was a relief. I could find some sort of, I don't know, not inception, but I don't know, inception, reflection, introspection, something like that. You know how to rhyme. Just it would bring some benefit to me, and I'm glad and happy to say that I think that is being fulfilled. I have wished on a number of shooting stars, and I do have a track record of having dreams come true, and so I appreciate you tuning in and being a part of that. I am not sure where this is going to take us, but in fact, it will take us somewhere. And I guess we are in it together, whether you like it or not. I happen to like it. I happen to be a fan of the community. I think that people coming back together and investing in each other and ourselves is going to be the way of the future. I happened to become self-aware of the fact that I'm turned into somewhat of a neo-hippie type, individual, and I do love that about myself. I love that about, I feel a good percentage of the generation and population of people who are going to be on the forefront and spearheading change and resolve in community and society. Because, despite common belief, we do live in a society. That is a fact. I'm hoping I was not too triggering or depressive. I don't want anybody to think this is an emo podcast. This is just a reality podcast. This is just true life, telefacsimile, Office Space type podcast. So I hope you'll allow me to continue to bring you my truth and my reality. And let's hear some feedback. I've been listening to a number of podcasts lately and have been influenced, obviously, to start this. And so if you have any feedback or any encouragement, criticisms, constructive, please, feel free. Comment. I don't really know where this is going to be yet. I suspect YouTube. Reach out to me personally. I always appreciate that. I'm big on community and communicative energy. When it's available, of course. That's another thing. You gotta be aware of your energy reserves. I've been having this on my mind on this podcast situation. It's been on my mind. It's been on my to-do list all week, and I finally took the time to do it, and I'm glad that I did. I'm happy to start something else in my life. To beginnings, they're only beginnings, huh? I don't know. I'm supposed to be writing a book. I have no idea where that's going to go. I don't know. Stay tuned. Thanks.